Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Central here. Hope you guys are having a wonderful day, as always. Back during the month of September this year, I finally got the opportunity to go to Triple Tree. It's a fly-in that I've wanted to go to for several years now, but this was the first opportunity I had. Didn't have anything going on with work. My airplane was in good working order. It wasn't being painted. So this was the first opportunity I had to actually go there. Now, for those of you that aren't familiar with Triple Tree, it's one of the largest grass runways in the United States, perhaps in the world. It's around 7,000 feet long, and this is a fly-in that yearly attracts some really fantastic aircraft. Lots of historical aircraft. There's going to be stagger wings, of course. There's some pictures of a P-40 I'll show you a bit later on. I arrived on Friday, and I wasn't able to stay very long. There was weather moving in, and I was planning on actually going on vacation that same weekend, so I couldn't stay long. I had to get in, take a look around, and then head home. But from the little time that I was there, I did get the opportunity to enjoy the sights. And there wasn't as much going on Friday as there perhaps would be on Saturday and Sunday, but it was still interesting. Now, as I already said, it's a grass runway that's approximately 7,000 feet long, and I do believe, unless I'm mistaken, it's the longest grass runway in the United States and perhaps in the world, at least as of the making of this video. So I couldn't pass up the opportunity to land there. Now, you might think, well, couldn't you land there anytime? Well, the answer to that is no. It's actually a privately owned airfield, and you're restricted to landing there only when there's an event going on where you're allowed to come in. So this is one of those few times when you actually can land there as somebody not directly associated with the airfield. So I wanted to take that opportunity. And I couldn't have asked for a better day for it. The wind was really very helpful actually on the way there. I was getting a ground speed of over 130 knots the whole way. I actually closed in on 140 knots ground speed at economy cruise, which was really nice. It took no time at all to get there. The runway is located in South Carolina, so I live on the northern border of that state. It was a flight a little less than an hour with that strong tailwind I had. Unfortunately, the one thing I didn't capture that I wanted to capture was my landing when I arrived. Unfortunately, working with cameras, sometimes they don't do what you want them to do, and the battery will fail, despite being fresh, and unfortunately that happened. But to make up for it, here's an extra. And yes, for some reason they decided to park me right up front, and I can only assume that was due to the paint job. Also sharing the front line were the T6 Texans, as well as a rather beautiful P-40. I'm just going to shut up and let you enjoy the pictures. So like I said, I didn't get a chance to really spend a lot of time at Triple Tree. As I understand it, there were certain events that would be going on, especially later in the evening. There would be music. In fact, there were some people that were playing in their own little private bands near their campers, as there are campsites around the airfield. However, primarily what you're going to get from an event like this is just the opportunity to look at some antique aircraft, perhaps some rare aircraft that have flown into the venue, and to watch people in general taking off and landing. It's not a super exciting venue. That extra was the only aircraft I saw throw on any airshow smoke, and obviously he didn't do any aerobatics. So it's not an exciting venue for those of you that are looking for non-stop entertainment. But if you're more laid back and you just want to take a look at some antique aircraft and enjoy a pleasant day with other pilots, it's a venue that does offer some benefits. Of course, it wasn't just non-stop fixed-wing aviation. There were some rotorcraft there as well. Now, I'm not that big up on helicopters, so I really don't know what I'm looking at here. Obviously, I know what a Huey is. I know about the Robisons, but whatever this is landing right here, if you're a helicopter person, let me know in the comment section below what exactly I'm looking at here. It's got 4 wheels instead of struts, so it's a little bit different setup. Anyway, I was curious as to what this is. So this is the view from the far side of the runway. I'm focusing on my sundowner there in the middle of the picture, but what's notable here is the clouds. I'd only been at the airport for 2, closing in on 3 hours when the clouds really started to roll in and the wind was picking up. So that was a concern. I knew that there would be weather moving in, but it seemed like it might be moving in a bit faster than I had accounted for, so I decided at this point to go ahead and head home. And while I didn't get my landing at Triple Tree, I did get the takeoff, so at least we can take a look at that. From a pilot's perspective, the one thing I can say is that I really did appreciate the volunteer work, those people on the ground as well as in the tower who were keeping all of us separated and safe. The amount of air traffic that was going on wasn't as extreme as it would be at some of the bigger fly-in events like Oshkosh or something like that. Obviously this is a lot less volume, but even still, the method that was used here for separation and for getting airplanes in and out was very well thought out and very well executed. Despite this being my first flight to this particular venue, and one of my first flights into a crowded airport, it really wasn't too big of a hassle. It didn't feel uncomfortable. I felt very, very safe, and I didn't feel overwhelmed at all with what was going on. And that was one of my concerns when I was doing my initial flight planning for this flight, but honestly, when I got there, it wasn't bad at all. So that was much appreciated. The flight home was pretty uneventful. There was a little more turbulence, obviously, with the weather moving in compared to the flight to the venue. However, it wasn't too bad, and in fact, I probably could have stayed at Triple Tree longer, but I decided that with the weather moving in and not really being able to know for sure, I wanted to head back before there was any trouble. There was, of course, a tropical storm brewing and heading inland, and I didn't want to potentially get caught out by the weather, seeing as how I needed to get back home and get ready for my upcoming vacation at that point in time. So, yeah, there was some weather, but it wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it might have been. You just don't want to take any chances. So, between the choice of heading home a bit early and getting stuck out somewhere or potentially trying to fly into nasty weather, yeah, it's much better to be safe than sorry and go ahead and call it quits early. Just a good rule of thumb. Will I go to Triple Tree ever again? Maybe. I probably won't go next year. I'm actually looking at potentially going to another event that's going to be planned at about the same time. So, yeah, I don't know if I'll make it back next year. It's not to say I won't in the future, but probably won't be there next year, unfortunately. But, hey, at least I did get to land at one time on the world's longest grass runway, so that's kind of neat. Anyway, I hope that you guys enjoyed. Just going to let the video finish out with my landing, and I will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.